One situation that you felt was your lowest low.
And the doctor comes and says, pack the body. I had seen roughly about 17 deaths in front of my own eyes.
So did this chapter change you? Never for a minute you felt you not be able?
Never. I'll be very honest, hand on my heart.
So is there a part of your story that you have struggled to share till date?
When Taj shootout happened, whatever I'm talking right now, I haven't spoken in the past ever. 2020 end, world had gone through a big change called pandemic.
The virus. Coronavirus.
I was struggling to find my feet. The confidence was very low.
Saturation that you had reached at that time?
I would hate to accept it, but that was the truth.
Do you see the same thing with the younger generation as well?
And that's where the main problem lies.
Your aspirations were conflicting with your values.
Netherlands is a very free country, and that's also sex-free country for some reason. There is a red light district which is a tourist attraction.
And you also had the privilege of working with Mr. J.R.D. Tata.
The day he got Bharat Ratna, he was staying in my hotel.
2000 was when Aaj Tak was launched. What plan you had for future?
It was a start of a project. MTV, it was a start of a channel. Aaj Tak, it was a start of a channel. BBC, it was start of operation of... I ran away from my house when I failed in ninth.
Hello, people. Have you ever imagined being on top of the world? Yes, you did. When people amongst you go on to become leaders with the same kind of upbringing, same set of friends, schooling, culture, what is so unique in them that makes them special? We will hear it from them, diving deeper into conversations in their professional and personal life, only on The White Talk. My guest today has a broader philosophy in life that he lives by. The road to success is always under construction. This mantra reflects his belief in the dynamic and evolving nature of success. Despite spending significant time in the prime circuit of media, he has managed to hold his ground and stay connected to his roots. He has been part of the top management for decorated brands like Taj, Walt Disney, BBC, Filmfare, MTV, and Aaj Tak globally. Let's delve deep into a meaningful conversation to know and celebrate his exemplary life journey. Only on The White Talk. Hi Amitabh, welcome to the show.
Hello Neha, how are you?
Very good. It's been really long that we've been trying to speak to each other.
Yes.
We'll begin with the first. You started your journey with Taj, Amitabh, and we would want to know what did it take to be working with the Tata Group of company.
See, very interestingly, I joined my first job at the age of 19 soon after my school. Because at that point of time, I thought investing 3 years in my graduation would be not as profitable as it would be to be on the job. And the only drawback was that it was a very small job starting from a scratch level. But I guess my family support was there behind me, and my father used to have this saying that work is worship, no work is small. That prompted me to join that job at a very, very smaller level, at a trainee assistant steward level. But I'm proud because now, after covering almost like 35 years in my working sphere, I think that was my MBA.
Yes, exactly. And did you ever feel that, your aspirations were conflicting with your values?
Not really, Neha. What happened when I joined? I was I'm quite inquisitive by nature as a personality, and that prompted me to join hospitality because I come from a middle class background, and hospitality was something which was all gold and glitter. So that prompted me to be in that sphere, and I'm quite dreamy in my own sense. I used to place myself on those people where I used to serve, and I used to manifest that when the day will come when the tables will turn and I'll be on that side. So I guess that kind of a vision is very much important when you are in the situation. When you are not in the situation, it's all in your dream. So when you are actually living that day to day and you are manifesting that how soon you can turn the table, that journey is very fast. And that's what I did in my life.
So we'll get to the next section of your journey when you transitioned from hospitality to media.
See, media was my, I guess, I'm born for media, and secondly, my dad was journalist, so I wanted to be journalist, but I was not very good in my studies, and that probably prompted me to join hospitality, where I could sharpen my skill on the communication side, because communication is something which will help you all your life, and that's what I wanted to do. Very strangely, I studied in Central School. Those days, Central School was very good school, but if you compare it with any private school, we were not that proficient in English or in any other language. The confidence was very low. But the hospitality told me to be very, very confident person. And media was something which was a totally different line. And I actually wanted to join media to prove to my dad once he said that, you should use your name only in the father's name column. And that's what prompted me to change my whole landscape of my life journey, professional journey, where I actually took a vow and I told him that there will be time when you'll be known as my father rather than me, your son.
That's
And
correct.
that's exactly what I did.
What culture have you imbibed from Tatas?
Okay, so I was part of Taj Group of Hotels and very premium property Taj Mahal, Delhi, which housed many dignitaries and VIP people. Uh, it is a very small hotel with 350 rooms at that point of time. They have reduced now further. But working with Tata actually gave me a great boost to imbibe the value system of life, which is helping me on day to day life. Like Tata employees are actually taught to be a family oriented people. It's not a company that people work there, it's a family that they work with. And that's the culture they believe in. So if you work with a culture which believes in that, I guess on the long run, and that too in the first job. Imagine those are the formative years when you are learning how to be a good leader, how to be a good manager, and when you are actually given that kind of a surroundings, you learn very well, which actually helps you all throughout your life. So I think the only thing which I learned was the great value system which Tata taught me.
So, since we have always heard everything so magnetic about Tata Group of companies.
I think it flows from the top. So, usually, because I worked in a lot of companies, usually the top layer, the corporate level, is very inaccessible to the people. They are not in touch with the people. They don't understand what grievances that they have, what issues that they are facing.
Yeah.
But in Tata, they take care of a very, very small aspect of your life. When Taj shootout happened, how Mr. Ratan Tata actually went to the people. There were people who were not employees of Taj. They actually helped them out also, given their full treatment, and also helped the families of those people who were affected in Taj shootout. Those are the values. We heard about the stories of the stray dogs
Yeah.
allowed in Taj. Who will think on those lines? These are the value which comes from the top.
And you also had the privilege of working with Mr. J.R.D. Tata.
Well, yes, I consider myself fortunate. He was alive when I was working there. And in fact, very interestingly, the day he got Bharat Ratna, he was staying in my hotel.
Wow.
I was very junior person, and the valet, who was my senior, I still remember, he was the one who took out Bharat Ratna badge from his coat and kept it on the table because the president actually had put the
Badge.
Bharat Ratna badge on his chest, and the valet who was on duty took it off when he came back to the hotel, and I was his assistant. I was not that senior to go directly in touch with Mr. Tata, but I've seen how down to earth person he was. And later, I got an opportunity not to interact with Mr. Ratan Tata, but be in touch with him for something. He was so accessible.
Being down to earth is something which is so crucial. And I think that act of kindness is what stays with you.
True, very true, very true.
So tell us about the culture of MTV in those
that
days.
that was interesting. I came from the hospitality background, which taught me to be a well-dressed person,
Yeah.
spick and span. And I remember there was a time when my top management was visiting Delhi, and I was like suited, booted, very spick and span. When I reached there in that meeting, I was made a joker over there.
And why was
because
that?
because the work culture was such that they only believed in informal. I mean, my half the office later on I got to know that the Bombay office wear pajamas and chappals in the office. That was,
Really?
yes, those days that was the culture.
2000
Yeah.
was when Aaj Tak was launched.
Yeah. Incidentally, I must tell you this because I was heading brand marketing of Ashtak. We used to do a lot of these promotions for the channel. And I remember Bombay was one territory which was a big thing for us because it's a financial capital. So I was supposed to do some kind of a gimmick over there, and Bombay Lifeline is their local, the
Yeah.
local train
The trains,
service
yeah.
train. And what we did is that we actually painted the entire local train as Aaj Tak Sabse Tez. We put
Okay.
the vinyl on the
Vinyl se, okay.
vinyls on the entire train.
Yeah.
So when you are actually standing on the road watching the train going by, you actually see Sabse Tez trains plying on the tracks. So that was something which was a great thing. Then we did BST buses. Those days, double-decker buses were there.
Yeah.
So rather than taking the static hoarding, the outdoor hoarding for the channel, what we did is that we actually selected the routes of those BST buses, that how the BST buses are plying on the high visibility areas, which track, which route is covering the maximum high visibility area, and we
Well, yes.
selected
Okay, the dense traffic
the dense
areas.
traffic area.
Okay.
So I believe that day BST buses was my moving hoarding because it's as big as any hoarding.
And that's so creative.
For sure, it was first as a channel. So it was a kind of, and much cheaper than hoarding, because the hoarding cost was much higher than printing the BST buses with the vinyl or
Okay.
trains. Very interestingly, we did, which was kind of worked in our benefit. We selected the theater halls and we made a series of black and white ads. Okay.
Okay.
Which was kind of a teasers, 50 to 60 seconds kind of a thing. It became such a hit that it's people still remember it.
And was it played in the theaters?
It was played during the interval, and people used to wait for those promos to watch,
Commercials.
commercials to come on screen. Many cinegoers actually told me they went to theater only to see those, not to the movie.
So what was this exactly? I mean, was it like an ad shoot
It
or
was it was an ad. Those days there was this artist who's a big actor now, Gajraj.
Badhai Ho and
Badhai Ho and all
yeah,
that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Gajraj was the one who was producing it from his company Code Red, as well as acting it also. This was like we. It was a black and white ad, as if it's a Purana movie का scene. अरे रीता तुम कहाँ हो? सोना खो गया है. आज तक वालों को पता तो नहीं चल गया.
Acha,
So
okay.
those kind of things. So
Yeah.
if you do the Google, you'll still find it. And so I often tell Gajraj that that was like a kind of a identity card for us, and he still claim. I remember very recently in Sahitya Ashtak he mentioned that also. When Ashtak was getting popular, we saw that we had more viewership from SEC, B, C, D, socio-economic category B, C, D.
Okay.
And we wanted to attract SECA, socio-economic category A, people who matters, advertisers, clients.
So I would like you to elaborate for people who do not understand what SSE. So if you can please
Yeah,
elaborate.
I'm sorry for the marketing lingo, but the advertisement when it is aired normally have to have those right eyeballs to watch. The people who have good education background, good monthly income, should have AC or fridge or whatever. So they are divided into several categories. So socio-economic categories, SEC. So there is A, B, C, D, depending on their various levels.
Yeah.
So what Ashtak was doing, that because of the popularity, we were popular in B, C, D more than A. And A matters the most because the advertisers and the client will only focus more on A, less on B, C, D. So
This is which year we are talking about?
we're talking about 2000, 2001, and 2.
Okay.
So what we did is that airport is one area which actually attracts only SCCA.
Yeah.
So I went to airport to find out if I can have Ashtak channel running on the TV sets and Ashtak kind of a vinyl or hoarding or whatever inside the premises so that people register the brand Ashtak. So imagine people are waiting because once you're into the airport, you have about 30-40 minutes waiting for your check-in or your various procedures. That's the best background to catch the detailing. So once you have the Ashtak channel running, it actually get registered in your mind कि हाँ यार airport पे आज तक दिखा था. And very soon, the moment we had couple of airports in India, we saw the SEC ranking jumping to the sky. So that's how innovative we were to identify the gaps, though it's a very technical thing. I mean, it doesn't matter to the common man, but I'm
Of
telling you
course.
from the marketing perspective how important it was to attract the whole gambit of the society which we wanted to attract.
And how much, by what percentage did you see the inflation?
Huge, considerable, because once you get the ratings, those days rating was also undergoing a lot of process, capturing the data of how much viewership you have. Those days it was a very primitive diary method where people used to write. I'll not go into detail, but television rating point system was very primitive those days, which got upgraded much later in life as we moved along with the technology. And those days, technology wasn't that high, so it was a very primitive way. But after doing all these campaign, it jumped like anything.
How was it working for the largest media company?
That was again one of my dream, um, to work for the largest brand in the media, like hospitality. Taj was the biggest brand, and I was very fortunate and lucky to work with a lot of big brands, and I made brands also. So Walt Disney was something which was there, and they were coming to India. I got this news, and I applied this job. I was not invited, like in the previous jobs, and I got through after some 8 to 10 rounds of
So
interviews.
this was the first time the parent company was coming in India.
Yes,
Okay.
Walt Disney made their inroads in 2005 in India, and they had the various rounds of discussion with a lot of people. And so I was very fortunate to break it, and I joined as a director in their office. But the condition was that I was supposed to shift to Bombay. So far, I was in Delhi. So I shifted with my bag and baggage with my family, and it was a great to work with such a big brand. Amazing experience. Though I worked there only for less than 2 years, but it was great. My 3 year thing, which you were talking
Yes,
about,
I was going to ask about that. That got broke.
that got broken because Ashtak I stayed 6 years, so it was double.
Oh, okay. You made up for it.
I made up for it. So
Yeah.
it was a big brand. They also put a lot of stress on the family values. Walt Disney believe in the family. It was a kids channel. It was a cartoon toons and Disney channel. So it was a kids channel, and imagine the kind of thing: first MTV, then Sirius BBC, then Ashtak, and then kids channel.
I am amazed to see what transitions you've had in your career. I mean, from news channel to cartoons to hospitality. It's been amazing. So tell us, how does Walt Disney strategize? When they make a new cartoon, what goes into creating a new cartoon?
That's more a creative question, and I was from the sales background, but I know the answer. They understand the psyche of a kid, okay, as to what and how he behaves before they produce any content. And obviously, based on the psyche, and that changes because if you see, kids of today's era are much more sound than what we were. We never had exposure to the internet. These days, if you see 2 3 year old kid, he's also busy in the phone,
Savvy, they are.
savvy,
Yeah.
playing games. They know how to switch on the phone, switch off the phone. So obviously, coming back to the question, the psyche is very important, and based on that, they cater to the content side.
So they mapped psyche
Oh
of.
yes, there is a various mechanism that they do,
Wow.
and it's
Um,
it's it's not, the production is also not simple. Production has various categories, and then obviously everything is produced outside India. But the since I was responsible for the affiliate relation, I was director affiliate relations. When we launched those Disney in India, the marketing or the sales was done by Star TV. So I was managing the relationship between the Star TV and Disney. So I was kind of a bridge between these two. And Star TV was also a big brand.
so you were
So
managing the alliances for them.
the alliances for them.
Okay,
So
all
that was
right.
for 2 years, and then after working for almost like what 20 odd years, I decided that that's end of it. That Delhiite can't survive in Bombay. Bombay is good to travel, stay in the sea-facing room in a good five-star hotel, come back 3 days later. But staying in Bombay was something which I was not able to there.
Yes, and that's actually a true notion because, even being in this people conversation and people conversing profile that even I have, I
Yes.
come across so many people who are based in Delhi but do not want to be based out of Mumbai, but do not want to leave Delhi. So, after being at the pinnacle of your career, working with the world's largest media company, what plan you had for future?
See, I realized I've had a good corporate stint so far, coming from the hospitality till Disney. And I thought probably it was time to launch your own brand with your own company. And I wanted to get back to Delhi. And because I was fortunate to work with biggest brand, after leaving with Disney, there was no other brand which would have been as equal as Disney. So there was no point going back to the corporate life again, and that prompted me to join, or rather, start my own venture. And
So,
I,
does that in a way tells us about a saturation that you had reached at that time?
um, I would hate to accept it, but that was the truth.
Yeah,
That was the truth, and what beyond that? And I was merely 35 by
at
my
that
age.
time. Yeah.
36 actually to be precise. And in 36 age, I have seen quite a bit until that point of time. So I thought it was time to do something new. And I love challenging myself right from my childhood, and by now you would have realized that was a kind of a phase where I wanted to test myself out also as to whether I actually succeed or I fail. And that gave me the idea to start my own company, iMedia International.
So, Amitabh, when you talk about the entire journey that you've had, reaching to a saturation level where you already, you also had so many brands to your name. What was one thing or that one situation that you felt was your lowest low?
When you're working with big brands, uh, many a times you go through the situation where you have to deal with a lot of your peer, which are from a different mindset. And because I was from Delhi, I was not able to adopt myself into the kind of a big atmosphere that I was working. I won't say I was misfit. I was chosen after 11 interviews. I qualified. I was not there just for with some reference, name reference, कि इसको रख लो नौकरी पे. But I found that was my mistake to shift to Bombay, because I shouldn't have. I should have stayed back. Now I realize, stayed back in Delhi working in Ashtak or some other brand. So that was first thing. Second thing, and I must confess, nowhere in my life I felt I'm not an MBA, because I was doing all my work which any MBA would do, and probably I was doing much better than what he would do or she would do. But that was a phase where I felt that it is high time that I should prove myself, because in your own mind you're the hero,
Yeah.
but unless until you actually thrown back to the situation, you don't know how much deep water you are into. And that was the stage which I had reached in my life, where I wanted to test out as to how much deep water I'm standing.
So why do you say that? When you shifted your base to Mumbai, was it the work or was it the city change that?
It was work, and of course, the city changed because Disney didn't have the office in Delhi. I actually wanted to test more hardship in my life by launching my own brand. I made myself tuned to get to that situation where I can challenge myself to start from a scratch, because all the brands, and very fortunately I'm very few Indian professional in media who have the privilege to work with the starting of all the companies, whether it's Times Television, it was a start of a project. MTV, it was a start of a channel. Ashtak, it was a start of the channel. BBC, it was start of operation of Ashtak. Um, BBC. Ashtak was a start of a channel. Disney was a start of the channel. So I was on, kind of a pro in starting the venture on my own. And what better way would be to launch your own company? And I thought, let me have the nichode of everything, put it in my own company. Let's see where I reached.
So, in retrospect, try to think what exactly was your psyche at that time.
Initially, it was confused because your salary credit SMS that you get on first was stopping.
Yeah.
The first jhatka. The second was that you don't have the liberty of having an executive assistant to assist you in your day-to-day job, because you're the peon, you're the GM, and you're the owner of your company. So there is no team to assist you. And the third one was that how the world will react, because once you reach on the top, you earn a lot of friends, but you also earn a lot of enemies, or rather people who don't appreciate you on your face,
Yeah, or who are not on the same page.
on the same page.
So, talk to me about that stint when you were with Walt Disney and you were transitioning and thinking of starting your own venture. What was it like? I mean, at that time, I want to understand what was going within you. That were you too much taken by that? Oh, I'm going to, I am now, as you said, you're a pro at starting something, scaling something up. What was exactly going on in your mind
I
at
think
that
the
time?
determination was more higher than a fear. Okay, if you are
That's so very well put.
if you are pointing your arrows towards my fear psychosis of my mind, that wasn't there. Determination was more higher than my fear. The second thing, which was very pertinent in my mind, was that I have to prove to myself than proving to anybody else.
Amazing.
And if you prove to yourself, that's the biggest high that you get.
Yes.
Right. So these were
Yes.
the two things which made me take that step. I launched a fashion company. Fashion was something which actually excited me right from my childhood. And then hotel fueled that passion more. So what I did in the fashion is that I remember the news anchors, like when we were sitting here, we got the makeup, we got the wardrobe. Of course,
Yeah,
it's our
yeah,
own
yeah,
wardrobe.
yeah.
But in the news anchors, when they read the news, they don't have their own wardrobe. It's all hired from the big brands and big stores. There's a makeup also required. And I felt that point of time when we launched that company, fashion company, that the Indian anchors were not at par with international anchors.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
point of time.
yeah.
Now you see a lot of
So there
colors.
was a lot of pattern, repetitive pattern
Oh
that they
yes, they
used
had
to.
this two, three suits, grey
Yes,
color, black
yes,
color, and they were
yeah,
rugifying that
yeah. And
only.
then saris, we remember.
So I changed that and I started that company, fashion company, with one girl in January. And by December, I had 14 top national channels under my belly. I had team of 45 people running with this company of fashion company.
Wow.
And we were doing wardrobe management for the news anchors for top 13 channel or 14 channels, I remember.
Okay, so talk to us about special projects that you have worked with iMedia.
Okay, so under iMedia, I was part of the Dutch government as well, where I was working with the Radio Netherlands worldwide. Netherlands is a very free country, and that's also sex-free country. For some reason, there's a red light district, which is a tourist attraction. I'm sure many viewers are aware of that. So we did. Dutch government did a research across the globe by Nielsen to find out about this subject as to how many people are aware of the education side of the sex as
Yeah,
such.
yeah.
And very surprisingly, Asia, the study which came from Nielsen says that it is a taboo over here. And we all know sex is a
Exactly.
taboo.
It's a show,
You and
yeah,
I can't
social
talk
taboo.
about sex openly.
Correct.
So when the findings went to my officials, they actually thought that it's a high time that we should have a website aiming at India, aiming at the larger population because of the world's largest population, second largest those days, to cater to the needs of the Indian, to educate them on the subject.
Okay.
And we had experts who were doing program. And the second territory which came was African region, Eastern Africa, where the French language is predominantly spoken. So internally on the board we decided that we launch a website in English and in French.
French. Okay.
We started the project, and I was asked if I can lead this project called Love Matters, which was a name of a website. We wanted to make a website only with no pictures but graphics and talk A to Z of sex education, which was the need of the hour also.
Right.
So when I was asked that if I can lead this project, my first thought was that how people will react, how society will react. But then I thought it's a noble cause, and somebody has to do this.
And we're talking about what
The
year
year
exactly?
this was 2008 9.
Okay.
So somebody has to bell the cat, and somebody has to take an effort.
Correct.
The second challenge, I was thinking in my mind as to how people will react or society will react.
So was sex education, I mean, there was nothing spoken about at that time, because we are talking about 2009. I mean, I'm just trying to understand in India what was the situation on sex education. I mean,
See, it's very sadly, there aren't many avenues or many platforms which were available at that point of time. Agreed that we are in a world where every information is on the fingertips.
yeah,
I'm talking 2008 and 9 when internet was getting popular. Facebook had just been launched,
yeah,
getting popular. WhatsApp was just launched. All the other mediums were launched, but the educational information were lacking across the globe, not India.
okay,
Even in America, there aren't many
yeah,
websites which are talking about the educational side of it.
yes,
As the entertainment, yes, sex is being talked about across the globe.
yeah,
They are the highest rated, kind of a
subject,
channel
yes,
subject. But educational side was totally ignored for some reason. And Dutch government thought that because we are known for sex capital or whatever, and we have legitimate service, why can't we take this initiative? Which was a very noble cause. And I approached the government, and government actually took 1 year time to study the subject because they can't give you go ahead in single day because of the sensitivities involved into the subject and all that. I got in touch with a lot of NGOs, a lot of LGBT communities, a lot of other factors who are working on this side. We tried to develop certain programs with them, worked very, very closely with them. And finally, I got the approval from the government of India also to support. And that's when we actually launched this website in India. So that's what I've been doing until 2020, I would say. And 2020 end, world had gone through a big change called pandemic. And I was affected greatly with that, so much so that I actually went on ventilator in hospital for 21 days, non-stop on the ventilator, where doctor had said I had very little chances of survival. I lost many friends. I lost many close friends, many close friends, many close colleagues around same time. I still get the goosebumps of those days when my left and right side people were admitted on the bed were dying. I had seen roughly about 17 deaths in front of my own eyes. Like I'm sleeping, the person is crying, struggling for oxygen, and suddenly he or she goes quiet, and the doctor comes and says, "Pack the body." Only one thing kept me going, and you laugh at that. The one thing which kept me going was that I need to walk out of this hospital with this smiling, and I need to have a selfie when I go out. So I somehow survived that phase, and I was out from the intensive care unit to a normal room, and a normal room to normal life. And then I met my family, my brother, my wife, my son. I guess much 25th or 26th day. So that was a respite, and then
so what do you think? What kept you going? The moment of ebb.
I think my own grit, resilience, and my own belief system that I'm still required to be alive. I need to do something bigger. I need to do something much. There was something which was stopping me. That was not my time to go.
Never for a minute you felt you'll not be
Never,
able.
never. I'll be very honest, hand on my heart. Never ever death thought came to my mind that I can also die. Never. Despite the fact that I was getting death news every hour, I still, uh, I thought, I consider myself as a God's gift, God's special child. So I guess that confidence also gave me a lot of courage कि मुझे तो कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता ना.
You
So
were definitely, you knew you were here for something very big.
maybe. And that was the time I probably, very few people in my life were in touch. And I was also not totally cut off from the world, society, friends. You are the only soul, one of the only soul that was in touch with me. So, full respect to that.
So, did this chapter change you?
Totally. Totally. I mean, a lot of things changed inside me personally. I became quite strong, I would say. I became quite determined in my own thought process. Financially, it was very hitting on me because I got out of work for almost year and a half.
Yeah.
Because if you're unwell, I'm on
It
my
has a
own, as
very
I
long
said,
lasting
yes.
impact.
So all my assignments were lost. I lost some people whom I was dealing in this COVID only. I have no clue because they were the only point of contact for me. And after they left, when I was trying to reach out to them, their family members wrote to me that he or she is no more, which was quite a heartbreaking because I was dealing with them on a
Daily
daily
basis.
basis. So it was quite emotional, but I guess life moves on, and that's where I am right now,
So,
smiling. And
that's what exactly is grit and resilience all about. It's definitely a very emotion evoking chapter
yes,
of your life. And I'm sure that's exactly which shapes up a leader,
yes,
to what they are today. That's great.
indeed.
So, is there a part of your story that you have struggled to share till date?
Uh, yeah, I guess post COVID, when uh, uh, I was trying to stand on my own feet, uh, that was a very tough phase on me personally because I was always star right from my childhood, my education, my journey from hospitality to media from what to what I've risen. When I started on my own, I did very well. I did very well for myself and my family, and raised my kid with best of the education in UK. Uh, I was always hero. I was always hero for my family, for my friends. But post COVID, I was struggling to find my feet. I was confident, but I was not very sure as to how I will bounce back because the word had changed. And I have learned in my life, and which is also a lesson to the viewers, you need to adopt yourself with the moving technology. If you don't keep yourself with the moving technology, you'll be far behind. And that's the lesson I've learned in my life. And that is what kept me alive and kept me going to evolve myself.
So, what made you decide to speak out today?
To make this program very special for you, you are my dear friend. And if I don't choose the right platform to convey my story, it may not be the good justice.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So
It means a lot.
I've been very honest to you. Whatever I'm talking right now, I haven't spoken in the past ever.
Yeah.
And I thought it is very important to convey the message for the leadership, not to give up. Every leader also go through the same phase of
Phases.
journey
Yeah.
what I've gone through.
Yeah.
Especially when you enjoy the pinnacle of the success in your life, and when you go down, not many actually are able to get that pressure to bounce back again,
That's right.
which is very, very important. I've seen many examples in my life. I know many people in my life.
It takes a lot to bounce back.
It takes lots to bounce back. And I've been, as I said in the beginning, that I used to fail in my school,
Yeah.
but I topped also.
Yeah.
And I feel very proud to say I'm failed, but I feel very proud because that talks about my resilience and my grit to bounce back. And despite the fact that I'm 54 right now, don't go by my hairs. I'm 54 right now. I still have that uniqueness to bounce back like a kid. And my inside kid hasn't died. I'm still the kid. I behave like kid. I think like kid. Uh
So, if you have to talk to your younger self,
huh.
what would it be?
To see the word, despite the fact that I've seen the word, I still wanted to see the word. I want to make sure that my name is all over. True leader is one who believes in the outer box theory. That's my funda.
How do you keep the negatives away when you're thinking out of the box? Because there's so many things which don't go according to yourself.
Right.
How do you handle that?
Just ignore it. You know,
Can we?
yes, it's all in your mind. When any negativity is around you or somebody's talking negative, understand that you're very positive. That's why negative is being talked about. That's a testimony.
If there's a bit of negativity around you, so imagine that there's a lot of positivity in you. Lovely.
So
That's
if you
that's
believe in that, you actually win the game. But to believe in that, it takes courage.
it does.
Because you are so much imbibed into your cultural fabric that you very rarely think on those lines. And when you start believing, you become the thick skin.
So when you talk about this, grit, resilience, and bouncing back, do you see the same thing with the younger generation as well?
Sadly, my answer is no.
Okay.
And I'll tell you the reason because I'm a parent myself. It's not a complaint, but and I'm sure many parents who are watching us will agree with me that they think like that struggle that they have gone through, they will not want their kids or offspring to go through the same. And that's where the main problem lies. So I decided to, get into learning and development because of my friend,
Okay.
Vandana, who was a great L&D specialist.
So what exactly do you do in
So
L&D?
we actually did a lot of trainings in soft skills
Okay.
initially with certain media companies, with a lot of corporate companies as well together, without any company name, just two of us, because she was working as an independent trainer without any company
Okay.
before we launched our own company.
Okay.
And we did some 7, 8 trainings together. So by 7, 8 trainings, we got cued in so much that we had that kind of a trust that we can play it up. And we do training together. So with her, I became the trainer myself
Yeah.
because I learned. And with 35 years of work experience, no subject is alien to you. You know anything and everything. You just need to put it in the right perspective.
That's right.
I used to, do a joke with her that, I was lecturing before also. I was called by IIT, IIM, IMC, JNU. You name institute, I've been there. But I used to get the gamla in the end. Here, I was getting money also.
Yeah.
So that prompted me, and because the team was such that we actually made 1 and 1 11, and we were appreciated a lot. And that's when we decided to launch a company called Voyage Ahead Solutions LLP, and we launched. We got it registered. We got our GST, everything sorted out, and then we started work together. And we did a lot of corporate training. We got MOU with some big universities, and we are in touch with a lot of big institute to have the MOU also. So work is going on very well now.
That's great. Wish you all the luck
Thank
for your
you.
new endeavor. Okay, so we had a lot of conversation around media, broadcasting, your stint, your great journey. We'll now be making the vibe little lighter, and we'll now see a wittier side of you with a quick rapid fire that we have.
Oh,
Okay, so let's begin.
okay.
Okay, great. Go for it. The best piece of advice you've received:
Chase your dreams.
toxic culture or non-performing team?
Non-performing team.
If you weren't a leader in your field, what you would be doing?
I would be probably a teacher.
Okay. The most adventurous thing you have done?
I ran away from my house when I failed in ninth.
Really?
Yes.
You ran away.
I ran away. I fled from my home.
Oh, wow. This is again a revelation. One fun fact about yourself that many people don't know.
There is a child inside me despite the age of 54.
Okay, what quote you live by?
There are multiple, but I'll say live and let live.
Nice. What's the funniest mistake you have made as a leader?
Ah, that's interesting one. This will require a couple of seconds.
Tick tick one, tick tick two, tick tick three. You got
Ah,
to be quick.
so I remember when we were launching Ashtak, I told my team to go to some interior part without realizing the distance and the time. And my manager was smart, and he actually said this, "Why don't you also travel?" And I very gladly accepted. And without realizing, it will take at least 8 hours on that bus journey or car journey to complete. My day was totally screwed up because I was actually spending time on the roads and very in a bossy style, I was telling him that you have to do this in 2 hours' time, which was a very foolish take without realizing that how much is the distance.
Just
And when he actually called me, I realized that it was a foolish mistake.
nice. A risk as a leader which wasn't worth taking.
I guess shifting to Bombay was one risk which I regret.
Okay, all right. What's one song which rejuvenates you every time you listen to it?
There's only one song.
And none, a justice needs to be done. You need to sing that song.
I'm
Come
a
on.
bad, I'm
No,
a
you
bad
have to do
singer.
that.
I'm a
No,
bad
no, no.
singer, but I'll tell you the song.
Yes, yeah.
The song is "Abhi na jao chhod ke dil abhi bhara nahi."
We can have two lines from you, Amitabh. Come on.
So "Abhi na jao chhod ke कि दिल अभी भरा नहीं."
That was lovely, 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 lovely. That's great. It was a very good rapid fire. You were quite spontaneous and
Will I get
quick.
hamper?
Yeah, very soon. Yes. All right. So with this, we come to an end. A conversation which was long due. Thank you so much, Amitabh, for your
Pleasure.
time.
Pleasure.
The conversation had so many learnings that as you need to think out of the box, you need to have that grit, you need to be bouncing back every time.
Thank you, Neha. Thank you very much. The pleasure is entirely mine. And, I've given a lot of interviews, but this interview will always be very special. I wanted to be honest. I wanted to be candid because I wanted to actually lay a foundation for people to follow to be candid. Because there has to be one platform where it has to come from the heart.
That's right.
The moment you use mind, it gets mixed. So I wish and I hope people will talk from the heart with you. And you've been a great host. Thank you very much for all the hospitality and questions. And you've been very, very kind to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amitabh. Thank you once again. And this is exactly the agenda of the show that whoever sits on the couch, we want them to talk white, to have candid conversations, open conversations, because, guys, there's nothing beautiful than a white talk. See you in our next episode. So, with this, we have a cake cutting ceremony. Let's get started.